The second your boots touch the red dust of Mars, something inside your body begins to break. Not in a dramatic sci-fi explosion, but in slow, irreversible ways that Earth has protected you from your whole life. Right now you're probably wondering if that's an exaggeration. It's not. This isn't just about no oxygen or a cracked helmet. This is about what Mars itself does to the human body, to the mind, to your cells, your blood, even your bones, from the moment you arrive. And that's exactly why you clicked on this video. You want to know why. Stepping on another planet could start a countdown clock on your life, and that answer, layer by layer, is what you're going to get right here. But only if you stay till the end. Because this story isn't something you can half watch and walk away with the truth. The science is real. The risk is terrifying. But the why is where things get dark and personal. You see, most people think the danger of Mars is about freezing cold nights or dust storms the size of continents. They think a better spacesuit or a high-tech base is enough. But those are surface-level threats, easily sold in headlines. The real enemy is quieter, invisible, and it's already written in your DNA. The second you leave Earth's magnetic field, radiation begins whispering through your cells, mutating, degrading, stealing the future you think you're bringing. With you, your bones begin to weaken. Your immune system collapses. The brain, the one thing you need to survive isolation, danger, and the unknown, starts to work against you. But here's where it gets worse. This isn't fiction. It's not a Netflix series. NASA knows it, SpaceX knows it, and the astronauts who've trained for this mission, they know the clock is ticking before they even leave the launch pad. You didn't come here to watch a dry science lecture or listen to space jargon that goes over your head. You came here because something about the title hit you deep. Something about the idea that we're not as ready for Mars as they tell us. And now, you're going to find out why. Through one person's journey, a mission meant to inspire hope, that slowly turns into something much darker. This isn't just about surviving Mars. It's about what happens when you start dying on Mars and no one back home can help you. Because what they discover up there might be far worse than any of us were ever told. And just when they think the worst has already begun, they make a discovery buried beneath the Martian soil. Something that changes everything. The silence of Mars was nothing like the roar of a rocket engine or the chatter inside the cramped cabin that brought them here. It was vast, empty, an eerie kind of quiet that felt heavier than the thin, cold atmosphere itself. For the crew, stepping onto this alien world wasn't just the fulfillment of a lifelong dream, but the start of an invisible battle against time and environment. From the very first hour, every breath they took was a reminder that their bodies were paying a price no one fully understood. The suit might shield them from the crushing vacuum and searing radiation, but beneath that protective shell, changes were beginning. Tiny cracks inside their cells, subtle shifts in their DNA, invisible wounds that even the most advanced medical equipment couldn't immediately detect. What's worse, this wasn't just an individual fight. It was something the entire mission depended on. A ticking clock that could unravel everything they had trained for, everything humanity hoped to achieve. Back on Earth, the world watched, with bated breath, celebrating the heroes who dared to venture farther than any human had before. Yet behind the scenes, the scientists and mission control officers wrestled with questions that had no easy answers. Why did some astronauts report strange symptoms that worsened with every Martian day? Why were bone density scans showing alarming declines even after weeks in the colony? The psychological strain was just as brutal. Isolated millions of miles from home, the crew grappled with moments of paranoia, memory lapses, and sudden bursts of irrational anger. The human brain, a marvel finely tuned to Earth's rhythms, began to falter in this hostile new environment. It was more than the physical dangers of dust storms or micrometeorites. It was the creeping effect of an alien world rewriting their biology. Among the crew was a mission specialist, whose background in biophysics made her the unofficial guardian of the group's health. She had spent years preparing for this moment, studying the potential effects of Martian radiation and low gravity on the human body. Yet nothing in her textbooks had prepared her for the creeping dread of watching her colleagues fade slowly. The commander, once a rock-solid figure of calm, now showed cracks beneath the surface, moments of vulnerability that revealed a deep fear he dared not voice. A young engineer, the youngest member on board, struggled silently with sudden migraines and strange visual disturbances, symptoms he dismissed as fatigue, but that the medical AI flagged as early warning signs of neural damage. And then there was the geologist, obsessed with the mysteries beneath the red surface, whose discovery of an unusual mineral deposit triggered a series of strange events no one could explain. This mineral wasn't just valuable, it seemed to pulse, with an energy that defied the known laws of physics. Initial tests baffled the scientists on Earth and the crew alike. Radiation readings spiked in its presence, but oddly, the energy didn't match any known cosmic or nuclear signature. Could this be a new kind of element or something far stranger? The geologist's fascination grew into an obsession that slowly isolated him from the others, raising suspicions and tensions within the group. As days passed, subtle changes in behavior became harder to ignore. Moments of distraction, forgetfulness, even paranoia. Was the mineral poisoning them, or was the Martian environment itself altering their minds? Meanwhile, Earth's political landscape complicated the mission's fragile stability. Governments and corporations vying for control of Mars's resources applied pressure on mission control to speed up colonization plans, despite mounting medical reports. Public opinion was split between awe and fear, a divided audience desperate for hope, yet terrified of what the reality might reveal. Leaked documents suggested some officials knew more about the dangers, but suppressed information to protect investments and ambitions. Whispers of a hidden agenda circulated online, fueling conspiracy theories about the true purpose of the mission. Was Mars a stepping stone for humanity's future, or a trap laid by forces beyond comprehension? As tensions simmered on both worlds, the crew received a cryptic transmission that seemed to come from beneath the Martian surface, an anomaly picked up by their sensors, a faint but unmistakable signal repeating in a pattern unlike any natural phenomenon. The message was indecipherable but impossible to ignore. It hinted at a presence on Mars that was neither human nor random. The discovery sent shockwaves through the crew, fracturing trust and igniting fear. Was the colony alone on this barren planet, or had something been waiting, watching for centuries? With each passing hour, the stakes climbed higher, pushing every member to confront not just the physical toll, but the psychological unraveling triggered by isolation and an invisible enemy. In this crucible of space and mind, friendships would be tested, secrets exposed, and the line between survival and surrender blurred. The moment they landed on Mars was just the beginning of a far more dangerous journey, one that could redefine what it meant to be human, what it meant to fight for life in a place where dying begins the second you set foot. And the truth is far more complicated, far more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. But you're about to find out, piece by piece, just what lies beneath the surface of the red planet, and why no one can escape the slow countdown ticking inside every explorer's body. So stay with me, because the next discovery isn't just about Mars or science. It's about the fragile thread that holds our very existence together, and what happens when that thread starts to unravel in a place where no one can hear you scream. As the Martian days stretched longer, the crew's initial awe transformed into an unsettling routine, punctuated by rising unease. The isolation was more than physical. It clawed at their minds, unraveling years of training and confidence. The medical reports grew darker. The bone scans showed accelerated degradation, far faster than any Earth-based simulations had predicted. Muscles atrophied in a matter of weeks. Cognitive tests revealed memory lapses and impaired decision-making skills that no amount of rest seemed to fix. What had once been excitement about being pioneers now turned into quiet desperation. Everyone understood that the clock was ticking not just against the unforgiving environment, but inside their very bodies. The quiet enemy wasn't just radiation or lack of gravity. It was a molecular decay born of Mars itself. Amidst this growing crisis, the geologist's obsession with the mysterious mineral deposit deepened. No one could ignore how he had become increasingly distant, speaking less to the team and spending long hours near the excavation site. He began recording strange data, noting spikes in radiation readings that defied any known scientific explanation. One night, a sudden sandstorm forced the crew to retreat, but the geologist refused to leave his post. When he finally returned, his eyes were wild, and he spoke of strange signals emanating from beneath the surface, patterns that sounded almost like a language but alien and complex. His colleagues exchanged worried glances. Was this just the strain of the mission, or had exposure to the mineral done something irreversible? Meanwhile, the commander, once a beacon of leadership and calm, found himself wrestling with sleepless nights filled with haunting dreams. Images of Earth faded into the red horizon, replaced by shadowy figures and voices that seemed to echo from the planet itself. He began questioning the very purpose of their mission, torn between the drive to succeed and the creeping fear that Mars was changing them in ways beyond science. His private logs revealed a man on the edge, wrestling with his own mortality, and the possibility that the true danger wasn't just the environment, but the unknown force lurking beneath the planet's surface. Back on Earth, the political pressure mounted. The mission's sponsor, a powerful conglomerate, pushed for faster exploitation of Mars resources despite the mounting evidence of health risks. Leaked communications hinted at corners being cut and crucial safety warnings buried. Deep in confidential reports, activists and independent scientists demanded transparency, but their voices were drowned in the flood of propaganda, portraying Mars as humanity's inevitable future. The public remained divided, some inspired by the daring mission, others terrified by the growing signs of something sinister unfolding millions of miles away. Social media exploded with theories, fears, and conspiracy claims, driving up the trending searches for Mars mission dangers, radiation effects on astronauts, and Mars mineral mystery. The pressure was relentless, feeding an atmosphere where truth and deception tangled into a dangerous web. Then came the twist that no one saw coming. During a routine exploration beneath the mineral site, the geologist and a small team uncovered a hidden cavern, a vast underground chamber glowing faintly with an unnatural light. Inside, the walls bore carvings, symbols and shapes that resembled no known human language, but suggested a message or warning left by an ancient intelligence. As they ventured deeper, the atmosphere shifted. Instruments registered strange electromagnetic pulses, and the air seemed charged with an energy that made their skin tingle. The discovery was both a scientific goldmine and a psychological trap. Some crew members felt exhilarated. Others were gripped by a primal fear, sensing something watching, waiting. That night, the colony's communications array experienced an unexplained blackout. For hours, contact with Earth was lost. When the link finally restored, the data logs revealed something chilling. Encrypted messages had been transmitted to an unknown receiver, and the colony's internal system showed signs of tampering. The crew realized they were no longer just isolated by distance, but possibly targeted. The question hung heavy in the thin Martian air: who or what was trying to communicate? Were these transmissions a plea for help, a warning, or something far more sinister? The tension fractured the team, driving wedges between believers and skeptics, scientists and commanders, hope and fear. Amidst the growing paranoia, the youngest engineer's symptoms worsened. His migraines turned into debilitating episodes, accompanied by hallucinations that blurred the line between reality and nightmare. He spoke of voices from the cavern, whispers that promised secrets and power, but threatened his sanity. The medical AI struggled to keep up, diagnosing symptoms it had never encountered. The psychological toll was clear. Mars wasn't just killing their bodies, it was eroding their minds. Desperation led to risky decisions, as some crew members began questioning the mission's purpose and their own fate. Should they push forward, chasing discoveries that might doom them, or abandon the dream and face the impossible journey home, knowing the planet had already claimed its toll? As internal conflicts escalated, so did the external dangers. The mineral's radiation spikes became more unpredictable, triggering sudden electrical storms that disrupted power and threatened the colony's fragile infrastructure. The dust storms grew fiercer, blotting out the sun and cutting off solar energy for days at a time. Life support systems strained under the increasing demands of survival. Every failure felt like a step closer to disaster, every malfunction a reminder of how unforgiving this world truly was. The balance between science, survival, and sanity grew impossibly thin. The discovery of the underground chamber and the mysterious messages had changed the mission's trajectory, but it also deepened the mystery. Were these signs remnants of a lost civilization? Or was Mars itself alive in ways science couldn't yet explain? Could the strange energy from the mineral in the cavern be tied to the invisible forces attacking their bodies? And most terrifying of all, was humanity alone on this planet? Or had something been waiting for them all along, hidden beneath the rust-colored soil? The clock continued to tick, not just for the mission, but for every soul on board. The stakes had never been higher, and the answers more elusive. What began as a journey of hope had morphed into a battle for survival against an enemy that was part planet, part mystery, and part the darkest fears lurking inside the human mind. And just as the crew prepared for their next move, something shifted beneath the surface of Mars, an event so unexpected it threatened to shatter everything they thought they knew about the Red Planet, and themselves. The air in the Martian colony had grown heavy with tension, each breath a reminder that time was no longer their ally. The strange energies pulsing from the cavern had begun to affect not just the technology, but the very essence of the crew's existence. What had started as physical deterioration transformed into a shared psychological bond, an invisible thread, connecting them to something beyond human understanding. The commander, once stoic and resolute, now spent hours staring at the cavern's entrance, as if waiting for an answer only it could provide. The youngest engineer, trapped between reality and hallucination, became the unlikely key to unraveling the planet's deepest secret. The encrypted transmissions revealed that the mineral and cavern were remnants of an ancient Martian intelligence, life, forms that had transcended physicality, evolving into pure energy. Their message was a warning, a desperate plea to halt humanity's advance before it became another tragedy on Mars. Yet buried beneath the caution was a promise, a choice to merge with this energy, to evolve beyond human limits and survive the hostile environment. The realization shattered the crew's understanding of science and existence, forcing a confrontation with what it meant to be alive. Amid escalating storms and failing life support, the crew faced their greatest decision. Some embraced the transformation, sensing a chance at survival beyond flesh and bone. Others clung to their humanity, fearing the loss of self. This schism split the group, igniting clashes fueled by fear, hope, and the primal instinct to survive. As the planet itself seemed to pulse in response, the once rigid hierarchy dissolved into fragile alliances. The commander's voice, steady yet tinged with newfound vulnerability, called for unity, warning that Mars was not just a place to conquer, but a force to respect and understand. In the heart of the cavern, the youngest engineer's mind became the conduit for the alien energy. Through his visions, the crew glimpsed Mars's forgotten past, a world once vibrant and alive, destroyed by its own ambition and hubris. The echoes of that civilization served as both a mirror and a cautionary tale. Their fate was a shadow looming over the present mission, a reminder that survival required more than technology. It demanded wisdom, empathy, and acceptance of limits. The engineer's struggle to balance the alien presence with his human spirit symbolized the fragile hope that humanity could learn from the mistakes buried beneath Martian soil. When the final storm struck, the colony teetered on collapse. Power flickered, systems failed, and the red dust threatened to bury their dreams forever. Yet, in that darkest hour, the crew found strength not just in machines or science, but in each other. Sacrifices were made, old wounds healed, and fears faced head-on. The ancient energy, no longer a threat but an ally, fused with their will to survive, offering a new form of existence, one that transcended death and decay, bridging the gap between Earth and Mars, human and alien. The transformation was profound, reshaping bodies and minds, but most importantly, forging a collective consciousness fueled by resilience and hope. As the dust settled, a signal reached Earth, not a plea for rescue, but a transmission of discovery and transformation, an invitation to rethink humanity's place in the cosmos. The crew had become pioneers not just of space, but of existence itself, embodying the ultimate journey of inner strength and courage. Their story was a testament to the power of connection, the resilience of the human spirit, and the profound mysteries that await those brave enough to explore beyond their limits. The Red Planet, once a silent graveyard, now whispered a new story, one of rebirth, unity, and the eternal quest to understand what it truly means to live. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of inner strength and resilience. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never forget your worth.